Hi, and welcome to this presentation on the VVX 500 series phone. This presentation will cover the basics of the phone, including the layout, the common screens, and important features such as transfers and conference calls. Here is the basic physical layout of the phone. Over here, we have our home button, which allows us to access settings, menus, and directories, and this is accessible in any feature of the phone. So if you ever get lost or turned around, you can always hit the home button until you find the screen you're looking for. Further down the phone, we have our speakerphone and handset buttons, which allow you to start and end calls in those modes. Our mute and volume buttons are towards the bottom, and those are pretty self-explanatory. The key feature of the VVX 500 is its touch screen. There are no other buttons around the screen. Everything is done directly by interacting with the screen. This area towards the bottom of the screen is where the soft keys will be. Soft keys are buttons which change context and label depending on which mode you're using on the phone. Here's what your screen will look like in default mode when there's not an active call. Up here, we have our voicemail button, which allows you to access your messages and set your settings for your voicemail, including the greeting. You can also access it by dialing *98. Over here, this clock icon allows you to see dialed calls, received calls, and missed calls, and any other recent activity on your phone. Here's what a typical recent call screen will look like. You can see in the upper right there are features which will allow you to filter and sort these calls as you need. Down here, back on the main screen, we have a status button, which will allow you to set your phone to away, busy, do not disturb, what have you. And if other phones on your network are set up to receive that information, people can see the status of their phone at any time. Once you start dialing a call, you will be brought to this dialing screen. This field here is where you can enter in the number. Over here on the right, this large green button is our send button. If you're dialing a 3 or 4 digit extension, you'll have to hit that send button to actually confirm it. 10-digit numbers should connect automatically. Once you're in an active call, the screen will change again. In the middle, you can see the extension name or caller ID of the person you are talking to, as well as their phone number. Across the bottom, you can see our soft keys have changed, which allow us a lot more options. And in the top left, you can see that we still have our voicemail and recent calls available to us as well. Let's start with the soft keys. Here we have our hold button. That's pretty common to most phone features. If you put a caller on hold, the screen will look something like this. This call is a little busy. This person has a lot of stuff happening on their phone, but you can see the various fields. To interact with any of these callers, all you need to do is tap their name and use the soft keys along the bottom to do what you need to do. The next soft key on the active call screen is our end call button, and that is very obvious. You can also, of course, end a call by hanging up your handset. The next soft key is a transfer button. There are two types of transfers we can do, an attended transfer and a blind transfer. We'll start with attended transfers first. An attended transfer allows you to speak to the person receiving the call before actually completing the transfer, which will allow you to give information such as who's calling or an introduction to the situation. The first step in doing an attended transfer is to press this transfer soft key shown here. You'll be then brought to a dialing screen where you can enter in the phone number or extension you wish to send the call to. If the other person is available, the receiving party, you can speak to them and give them as much information as you need to. Then, when you are ready to actually complete the transfer, you can hit transfer again, and that will complete it. You should note that during this process, your initial caller will be put on hold. The second type of transfer we can do is a blind transfer. This is one where you send the call directly to the receiving party without confirming any information or if they're available. This is useful if you know you wish to send your caller directly to that person's voicemail or if the other person is already expecting the call. The first step is the same as the attended transfer. You hit the transfer soft key. On the dialing screen, you hit the blind button up here to switch it to blind mode. You can then enter in the extension or number you're dialing. And once you hit that send button or once it starts dialing, you're done with the blind transfer. It's out of your hands. You can hang up the phone and it will be connected to that other party. Coming back to the active call screen, the next option available to us is our conference button. You can host three-way conferencing on your phone. To start the process, you're going to hit this conference soft key. Your initial caller, if you're on a call already, will be put on hold. You are then brought to a dialing screen where you can enter in the number of the other party you wish to join in. You will be given a chance to speak to that person if they pick up and give them information as needed. When you're ready to complete the conference and join all the parties, hit this conference button one more time. This is what a conference screen will look like. You can see across the bottom that the soft keys have changed again. Of note is the split key, which will allow you to put both callers on hold individually if you wish to speak or interact with them on a one-on-one basis. The last major function for our active call screen is our call park function. This allows you to put the call you have on hold, but in such a fashion that anyone on your network can pick up the call. To start it, press this park soft key, or you can dial *22 on your keypad. Take note of the call park ID that is announced. An automated voice will say something like, "Call parked on 1." Take note of that because it will be important for people who wish to pick up the call. When you want to pick up the park call from anywhere on your network, go ahead and hit this pickup button. This is shown on the default screen. You can also dial *23. You would then enter in the call park ID, and that should complete the process. So that's it for the basic functions for the VVX 500. I will also make available a quick user guide, which comes in handy for the major functions I just went over here today, as well as the full user guide if requested, which will go into great detail about all the different options and functions available to the VVX 500. I thank you for your time and attention.